Right now, right now. 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 Oh, I got a real good feeling.
We try to bring you high-quality educational and informational content every single day. Why do you think the price is having such an anemic time? The news story of the hour. Jump onto the chart. Is this the beginning of a massive financial unraveling? We gotta add a little addendum to the show map today. So we start here on the daily. Now, we've been looking at the RSI on Bitcoin's daily chart for the last several days. It always has been, but it's been increasing over the last 50 years since it's been out there. The government has been Hey guys, what's going on? Jebb here, and welcome back to Coffee and Crypto. Sorry for everybody who I got in the loading screen. It's Halloween weekend after all. Today is the 28th of October. Halloween will be, what, on Monday? Wow, that's a weird day for Halloween to be on. But nevertheless, Halloween's coming up, so happy Halloween to everyone who celebrates that. Happy Reformation Day to everyone who celebrates that. And happy first, I guess, second day of a new era of cryptocurrency, because as you guys know, Elon Musk solidified the purchase of Twitter yesterday, and there are some very funny, albeit kind of sad updates. It's the passing away of an era. Elon Musk marched into Twitter headquarters on Thursday, stayed there the whole day, got completely mobbed by Twitter employees, I'm sure most of which were asking, am I going to get to keep my job? Because he's planning on laying off like 75% of the workforce, and he fired the CEO, the CFO, and the CLO, the chief legal officer, and their legal general counsel all on the same day. And we're going to get to the massive amount of severance that those three individuals, the former CEO, Paris Agrawal, I always butcher his name, the CFO and the CLO are getting. It is a huge amount of money, but luckily for Elon, he is the world's richest man, and it seems like the crazy amount of money that they're going to get, from my perspective, is chump change to Mr. Elon himself. But we also need to talk about some crypto news, because of course we got to be following what Twitter is, what's going on over at Twitter with Elon Musk. But at the same time, there are some very important stories going on in cryptocurrency as well. One of them having to do with the mining company known as Core Scientific. This is a miner that filed pretty much a warning and let people know something yesterday, and we didn't have a chance to look at it because yesterday, obviously, this deal with Twitter was going through. But essentially, they make up 5% of all Bitcoin hash rate, this company does. And they pretty much just said yesterday, and we'll talk about this a little later on in the show, we're going to start off by talking about Elon. They more or less just admitted that they're not going to be able to make the payments on the loans that they have out on their mining gear and different financing that they have for different facets of their business, which essentially means that they are very much on the brink of insolvency, and you could argue that they're already insolvent if they can't afford to pay back these loans. So we're going to be talking about that as well today. Is that a cataclysmic event in cryptocurrency like people are painting it to be? Is that going to be the end of Bitcoin miners as we know it? Is that going to cause a massive drop in Bitcoin, or could this actually be a phoenix-like new rebirth for part of the mining industry here in the cryptocurrency sector? We're going to talk about that in today's video. By the way, if Shoba or Cryptex or any of the people that were in office hours over in Club DeFi are in the chat right now, shout out to you guys, because you guys helped me to research about what was going on with Core Scientific during office hours yesterday to be prepared for this show. So shout out to them and all of our members over in Club DeFi. Office hours are now back up, by the way, for anybody who is in Club DeFi and you don't know already. Office hours, the link is posted for the Demio in the Discord server for Club DeFi, and we're caught up on, I believe, pretty much all of our support requests. If you send us any kind of emails for tickets, and also, as I said, those office hours will be taking place on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3 to 3:45 p.m. Eastern. So had a lot of fun over there for everybody who joined. We also have Mitch Shaw in there, so shout out to Mitch. Guys, we have got to go ahead and read some green names. Already got 313 people watching. Thank you guys so very much for tuning in. And if this is your first stream here or your second stream, because we had some new smiling faces yesterday, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel. Make sure to follow us for all of the latest cryptocurrency content. We're talking news, fundamentals, technicals, on-chain, and more. We're keeping you guys up to date every single weekday on what's going on in the cryptocurrency industry. So let's go ahead and read some green names. Oh, it looks like I was first today, so shout out to myself. No, I'm just kidding. J-Dog was first, putting the coffee mug in chat. And then we also got Crypto Ben Franklin. Said, good morning, everybody. I hope I'm first since it's a competition now. You were the first green name, so that's something. You were very close to first. You were third. Tatted Grizzly from yesterday, who wanted me to give a shout out to Dogecoin, is in chat. Said, Dogecoin looking good, above the 200-week moving average. Let's go. Yes, Dogecoin is doing very well, and in fact, I have Dogecoin's chart up right here. You can see Dogecoin has rallied substantially over the last couple of days, up 44%. And there's a lot of speculation right now as to whether or not Elon is going to integrate Dogecoin on Twitter before he would integrate something like Bitcoin. So that's a question that we're going to be diving into today as well. Let's go ahead and keep reading here. We got Robert Casanova in chat. We got Crypto Ben Franklin again, J-Dog again, Mitch Shaw, Mattis S, David PT. Really just very appreciative of everybody who's joining us today. Mitch Shaw in chat, Justin Eubanks in chat, Jeremy Shorter in chat, Crypto Vet, shout out to Crypto Vet. He's a fellow content creator here in the space. Michael Lowry in chat, Justin Eubanks again. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Troublesome Creek, shout out to you, Mike Lowry. Jeremy Shorter, sorry, I made a bunch of you jump when I said boo into the microphone earlier. Crypto Ben Franklin said I definitely scared the life out of his dog. Sorry about that. He said it was hilarious, though. I would have loved to have seen that. That sounds pretty funny. Sorry. Jojo in chat, Gia S in chat, Flair Staking in chat. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Matt C in chat. I'm officially calling Elon's company Twesla. That sounds like a weird ship name between Twitter and Tesla. I mean, I guess it works. Twesla. Okay, I think that might just be you up there, Matt, calling it that. We got Adam Rourke in chat, said, this is my first... Oh, really? Okay. All right, Adam. Okay, I see. Crypto JMP said, I'm here. What's up, everybody? If you are here for the first time and you don't know why I'm reading green names, we read green names at the beginning of our stream here. And if you want to have a green name, you can hit the join button right below the stream. Join as a member, and you will get a green name. And every time you message in chat, it'll jump out to me even more, and I'll make sure to read your names at the beginning of the stream. And sometimes I'll read other people's names. I like giving shout-outs to everybody, but I'll make sure to read all the green names, especially each day. So shout out to all of you who have joined. But let's go ahead and jump on over to CoinMarketCap. As I said, if you're new here, hit the post notification bell so you won't miss a single stream. We go live at Coffee and Crypto here every single weekday at 10 a.m. Myself, Crypto Jebb, doing the show Coffee and Crypto. Thank you for tuning in. Let's go ahead and look over here at CoinMarketCap. You can see Bitcoin currently trading at $20,350. And if we jump on over to the chart, this is what I was kind of talking about. Bitcoin did manage to go through a pretty substantial rally, up 1750. In the span of about 48 hours, Bitcoin rallied at 9%. The issue is that rally just did not have a lot of fundamental backing to it. It had a massive short squeeze that pumped it up, but there wasn't a lot of backing to this movement. And a lot of people were thinking, well, gee whiz, Jebb, shouldn't this market just be blasting off now? We just saw Bitcoin rally almost $2,000 in 2 days. Doesn't that mean that the bull market's coming and the bear market's over? And I said, hold your horses, not quite. What drove Bitcoin up here in the first place? It was a short squeeze where we saw $750 million worth of shorts getting liquidated over on FTX, and another 200 million or so on various other exchanges like OKX, Binance, etc. And we didn't see the vast majority of those shorts getting distributed evenly. A lot of it happened on FTX, which made me wonder, there seems to be something fishy going on over here. Could there have been one big trader on FTX that got liquidated to the tune of $400 million? Could it have been market manipulation? Could it have been insider trading? I don't know, and I'm not going to accuse anybody of anything, but it was a little odd that most of it happened on FTX. And then it happened just a couple of days before. Let me just, okay, we're kind of in conspiracy territory here. I am not saying anything for sure, but just want to put some pieces together and ask some questions. Again, I'm not saying Sam Bankman-Fried or FTX did anything shady because I have absolutely zero evidence of this. I'm just looking at the timeline. We saw that Elon Musk was going to buy Twitter on Thursday or Friday. A couple of days before that, we saw $750 million get liquidated on FTX, which happened 2 days after Sam Bankman-Fried came out with his proposed regulatory framework in cryptocurrency, and after people started getting on his case about potential market manipulation on other cryptocurrencies that Alameda Research had a play in. So just seems a little bit strange that this short squeeze would cause Bitcoin's price to jump, which would take attention away from SBF. And then, if anybody's looking at the shorts and see that a lot of it happens on FTX, then Twitter gets bought by Elon, which would take attention away from that movement, which was taking attention away from what was going on with Sam Bankman-Fried in the first place. I don't know. Like I said, I have zero evidence of any kind of foul play in that regard. Just, I've learned to be just a little bit paranoid when it comes to movements in cryptocurrency that go against the technicals, because it's normally either something on the surface like, okay, boom, Bitcoin got adopted by Argentina or something. Not a real story, but a big story does it. Or sometimes when it goes against the technicals, there's something that's going on behind the scenes that we don't know about, to the tune of market manipulation or whale activity. Again, I don't know. All I know is that a vast amount of this movement happened because of short liquidation that took place on FTX, and I'd like to know why it all happened. Almost all of it happened on FTX. Anyway, moving on here. Bitcoin is currently setting a local top here right around $21,000. We've now pulled back from there, but what we see is that Bitcoin just traded one downtrending level of resistance, i.e. this one, for another one. This downtrending level of resistance that Bitcoin now finds itself under traces its lineage, if you will, because it's a line. See what I did there? It traces its lineage all the way back here, and it's this exact same downtrend that Bitcoin had been using as support for a long time. Bitcoin's now using it as resistance. You can see that it draws straight through all of this support back here on the linear chart. Now, it's a little bit different on the log chart, but on the linear chart, this is why you want to look at both. On the linear chart, it does, and then it also hits the top right here, and then it hits the top right here. So to be honest with you guys, you could honestly remove this trend line, and then Bitcoin is still in this descending triangle pattern that we've been talking about. It just has a different downtrending level of resistance. And I warned you guys about this. I told you that it's a possibility, and I don't mean to say I told you so, but I just want to let you know that this is something we've been talking about. It is a possibility for the trend line that is being used in a descending triangle pattern to change, and then the pattern actually still continue under a different trend line. We saw that happen over here in early 2018 when this was the downtrend that Bitcoin was under. We broke bullish above it. Everybody thought, okay, great, back off to the races. We're going to go back up to 20K. The fundamentals weren't there, and Bitcoin ended up dropping using that then as support, and then it finally got away from that downtrend for good. The point being that you can have the same pattern with a different trend line in effectively the same place, and that's what may be happening right here. It may be that Bitcoin had a downtrending level of downtrend of resistance moving right through here. And yes, it broke that, but now it's just traded it off for a slightly more shallow downtrending level of resistance that nevertheless has the exact same purpose, which is to drive Bitcoin into this zone of support that we have touched so many times down here. Just want to remind you also, Lux Algo did flash a buy signal, but it never even came close to getting confirmed. Remember, Lux Algo buy signals have to be confirmed if we're going to take them seriously. For example, over here, this is a great example. Here in 2019, Lux Algo, if you guys don't know, by the way, Lux Algo is an incredible technical indicator, and you need to get it. The link is in the description box down below if you're a serious chartist. We saw this sell signal right here that got confirmed with trend catcher, so we took that seriously. Lux Algo wasn't even created back at this point, but if we had seen this, we would have taken this seriously. But then there was a strong buy signal right here that did not get confirmed by trend catcher. We would have not used this strong buy signal, meaning that this sell signal is invalidated because it's just the exact same signal as this one. Because this signal never got invalidated, this one is pointless. I hope you see what I'm saying here. Since there was never actually a buy signal, this sell signal is unnecessary. So if you cancel out a buy signal, then the following sell signal actually gets canceled out also. Both of these signals don't do anything, and luckily enough, because if you had traded this buy signal without confirming it with trend catcher, you would have gotten a tiny little bit of movement. But to be honest with you, we're looking at the daily chart. You're normally looking for bigger movements than what you're seeing here with this strong buy. The market was trading sideways, and it was trading sideways with such massive volatility that it triggered the buy signal, but not enough volatility that the trend catcher would go on to confirm it. So Lux Algo did a wonderful job of weeding out a false signal with itself in this case. Again, if you don't have Lux Algo, get it. Links in the description box down below. Use coupon code Jebb, Jebb, for 20% off at checkout. Good example of another example of what I'm talking about is here. Bitcoin has a buy signal, not above the trend catcher, does not have green. We probably have to get up to at least $22,000 or $23,000 for us to have a green trend catcher reversal. And before that happens, Bitcoin is probably going to end up having to see some kind of major news story, such as a 50 basis point rate hike, such as Elon Musk adopting Bitcoin on Twitter, which, to be honest with you, that news could come out in the next couple of days. I kind of doubt it. I think Elon's working on some other stuff, but I wouldn't be surprised if he was going to go that direction or the like. Bitcoin right now needs to see a lot more green, and what it's done is it's rallied up to this downtrend that we just found, and it's pulled back, and now we have a spinning top. So you mean to tell me we had a rally here, then we pull back, we see a spinning top right here with long high upper wick, low long lower wick, This candlestick right here signals indecision. Well, that's not what I want to see at the beginning of an alleged massive rally to the upside. This tells me that the bulls that were confident 2 days ago are no longer confident. If they've already run out of steam, then where am I going to get the confidence to follow them if they've already run out of steam 2 or 3 days into this market? Last thing I'll say before we move on to talking about Elon, you can see over here, this is a buy signal, but it's actually already got a sell signal. Now, that sell signal is not confirmed, but on the 4-hourly chart, it's so bearish that there's a sell signal. You can kind of take these buy and sell signals as preliminary signals where you look out for the market. Like right now, we're looking out for Bitcoin going into a big rally. It's just not confirmed yet. But down here on the 4-hourly chart, we're looking out for this market having a drop. It's just not confirmed yet. And on the hourly chart, for example, we saw the buy signal come in here. I believe it was right here. Yeah, right here we saw the buy signal come in. We're now under a sell signal on the hourly chart. So we'll see what plays out there. By the way, the sell signal on the hourly chart, this is when it came in. It had already been pre-confirmed by trend catcher being red. Look at this take profit. This take profit was drawn before any of this. This take profit like nailed it on the head. Lux Algo absolutely just did a great job here. Again, if you don't have Lux Algo, you should definitely get it. Anyway, just wanted to give you a bit of an update about what's going on the chart of Bitcoin before we get into this, so that you have a little bit of context for where Bitcoin is moving into the story with Elon Musk. Because if you don't know, if you somehow don't know, Elon Musk is the richest man on the planet. Owns and he is the CEO of some of the most powerful companies on the planet, like Tesla, SpaceX. People forget he also still has affiliation and ties with Solar City and Neuralink. So he's still working on all of those companies in some capacity. Now, he's probably not the most active in a couple of those companies, mainly Solar City and Neuralink. I think he's still the CEO of Solar City. I could be wrong on that, but I know he's still got a lot of ties with Neuralink. But he doesn't have time to do all of those things. He's putting a lot of his time right now into Twitter. Those other companies are running well, but he's putting his time into Twitter because he just became the CEO of it. So we got to talk about it, because Elon Musk, being the most powerful man on the planet, more or less, most powerful entrepreneur on the planet for sure, like hands down, easily most powerful entrepreneur on the planet, he's somebody that we're going to have to take very, very seriously. Let's examine the battle lines here for a second. Over the last 5 to 6 years, we've seen some major shifts in social media. As you guys know, we had the first and the second adpocalypse on YouTube going back to, I want to say 2016, 2018. And a lot of content creators got very upset at YouTube. There's been a lot of concerns over how YouTube runs, monetizes, and polices its platform. Even this channel, for example, about a year ago, almost exactly a year ago, the channel just got deleted, poofed, out of existence around 3 o'clock in the morning, and it was reinstated a couple of hours later. But there was an algorithmic issue, and the channel got deleted. And I ended up making a video about it that got like 70,000 views, and it was a blessing from the Lord, actually, in disguise. And I ended up, realizing, oh, wait a minute, okay, my identity is not tied up in the channel, which is good, because that's not where we want it. We want our identity in Christ. But the point is that the channel got taken down, and luckily I was able to get it reinstated, but it never should have happened in the first place. There was no reason the channel should have been taken down. You look at Facebook. Facebook has been coming under increasing amounts of fire and flack for its involvement in the political process in the West over the last 5, 6, 7 years. You take a look at what is going on between Facebook, now Meta, and what's going on between them and TikTok. Mark Zuckerberg realizes that TikTok is going to eat their lunch if they're not careful, because people are no longer using social media just to interact with people. They have Messenger and Discord for that. Instead, they're looking on Facebook and they're doom scrolling on Facebook for the sake of finding cool content and cool videos to watch. And I don't know if you've been on Facebook anytime recently. All the content on Facebook is reposted from TikTok. So there is a massive shift going on between the old guard of social media. So we're talking about Facebook, Instagram, and it hasn't hit YouTube as badly because YouTube doesn't really have any competitors right now. But there's a shift going on between the old guard of social media to this newer era of social media, which TikTok is front running. And Elon Musk is no stranger to that phenomenon. He realizes that. He knows that. And he also knows that if he can help position Twitter from being part of the old guard to putting it in a position to lead this new era of social media, not only will it make hundreds of billions of dollars, but it will also have a huge impact on society in the way that he's talking about. So let's give a couple updates on what's going on. Let's give a couple of updates about what's going on. I'm going to jump over to my screen here, and we're going to look at his Twitter. As we talked about yesterday, he updated his Twitter profile to say Chief Twit, as he is now apparently that is apparently his legal title over at Twitter. If you guys don't know, he is what's his name at Tesla? Techno King. His name is Techno King. That's his official title. He's not the CEO. He's the Techno King of Twitter of Tesla. He posted over here 2 hours ago. Let the good times roll, and it says spoiler alert. A lot of people have been wondering why he put spoiler alert right there. I don't know, but I'm really, really curious. Pomp said, Elon, what are the first changes you're looking to make at Twitter with the product? Shout out to Pomp. Would love to have him on the channel at some point. I think we're actually working on a collaboration with him. Anyway, Elon Musk confirmed 10 hours ago that the bird is freed. The bird is freed. Michael Saylor said, Twitter shall write no code abridging the freedom of speech. Let's go, Michael. I'm retweeting that right now. Michael Saylor is a friend of the channel. We're trying to get another interview with him. I would love, and this is a little bit off topic, but it's really not. I would love for all of us to go on Twitter and start talking about what I'm about to say. There has been this idea in cryptocurrency and in more libertarian circles and in the circles of people that realize, wow, social media is turning into kind of this tyranny of the masses and of their speech, of there being a voluntarily adopted Bill of Rights that all of the social media platforms adopt. Now, they would adopt it voluntarily. They're not private companies. They're normally public companies, but they are companies that are not owned by the government anyway, right? So they're not government entities. A lot of people confuse freedom of speech. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech for the government not to impose something on you, but companies technically, legally can do that because it's their business. But nevertheless, if these social media companies were pressed, and I do mean pressed, into, because it probably wouldn't do this voluntarily other than Twitter under Elon, and he could start this. If they were pressed into signing and agreeing to some kind of digital Bill of Rights, I don't know what that would look like, that basically outlined the rights that people would have to speech on their platform. That is something that Elon Musk has now positioned himself to be the front runner on. That's been a topic of discussion around social media, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Meta, TikTok, Discord, Twitch, everything for the last 6, 7, 8 years. And it's something that Elon Musk might be thinking about. And that's kind of what Michael Saylor's talking about there. He basically just wrote an amendment to Twitter constitution, if you will. Not that these are governing bodies, but they have enough power and authority that they dang near almost act like one. Michael Saylor said, Twitter shall write no code abridging the freedom of speech. I like it. I like it. Good deal, Michael Saylor. But yeah, if we go back to Elon Musk's Twitter, let me pull up his Twitter again. Just want to read you some of his recent tweets. This guy's Twitter is one of the most important pages on the internet right now. He also posted Falcon rockets to orbit, seen from Los Angeles. Absolutely beautiful. And then he's got some Falcon stuff over here. But then also this happened. This was retweeted. I got to show this on office hours, but this actually came out after the stream yesterday, so I didn't get to show you. Retweeted Walter Isaacson, who's gotten like 50,000 followers since he tweeted this, by the way. But at Twitter headquarters coffee bar at Elon Musk, you can see that's Elon Musk right there, just getting absolutely swarmed by a bunch of Twitter employees that no doubt are asking, am I going to get to keep my job? Am I going to get to keep my job? Can I keep my job? Or am I getting fired? Do I need to look somewhere else? That's probably what half of the conversation was. And the other half was probably, well, what's the vision now, dude? You just came in and bought our company and bought up all the shares and took it private. What are you going to do with it? I'd like to know. Fair enough. But anyway, moving on here to a couple of the updates about what he's actually done. Elon Musk is officially Twitter's new owner, and he's firing executives already. He came in swinging. He was not playing games. That's something to keep in mind, guys. Elon Musk does not play games. This dude likes to joke around, and he likes to have fun, and he likes to do things like carrying a sink into Twitter. But when it comes down to his business dealings, he is not joking. Like, he is a funny guy. He is comical, is the way I've heard him described. And that's true. And that's one of the things that people admire about him. But he's not playing around when it comes to business. And some of the quotes in this article will make that very apparent. Twitter and Musk fought for months over his attempt to back out of the acquisition. Obviously, now that has no bearing because he's bought it. Now Musk is taking over the company, ousting executives and setting meetings with engineering teams. The bird is freed, he tweeted. Absolutely love it. Elon Musk is now the owner of Twitter. Thursday evening, Twitter and Musk formally closed on the billionaire's offer to take the company private by paying $54.20 per share, equal to about $44 billion. Just a side note on what I'm talking about where he's comical but where he's serious. He was serious about spending $44 billion to buy this deal, but he was a jokester enough to fit 420 in there, which, by the way, with how many outstanding shares Twitter had, which was, I mean, it's got to be over 100 million shares. I'd have to do the math or look it up, but just to add that 20 cents to the share price probably cost an extra, $44 billion divided by $54.20 per share. It costs tens of millions of dollars just to add that extra 20 there, just for the joke. That's how much he's willing to invest in making a joke. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't realize is very, very powerful. Equal to about $44 billion, sources close to the deal told Insider. Musk made a U-turn on the offer in October after spending months trying to back out of the agreement. The same evening, Musk also ousted CEO Parag Agrawal, I always butcher this guy's name, and CFO Ned Segal, the sources said. CLO, Chief Legal Officer Vijaya Gadi, and General Counsel Sean Edgett are out too. The bird is freed. This is just, I'm just going to read this. This is really funny because we talked about this yesterday, but it's just hilarious. I got to read it again. Musk has been at Twitter's San Francisco headquarters this week, meeting with workers and holding impromptu discussions with them in a cafe, Insider reported. He entered the building on Wednesday, and this time, yeah, he wasn't joking, carrying a large bathroom sink, a nod to it sinking in that he is Twitter's new leader. An all-hands meeting with employees is expected to take place today on Friday. And make no mistake, this is not like somebody walking into Skechers unannounced. He walked into Twitter as the owner, and he now owns the business, and he is very excited to hopefully be building the Everything app as he's been talking about. And in fact, we even see over here Binance's CZ, Changpeng Zhao, the CEO and founder of Binance, is, quote, excited to help Elon Musk realize his vision for Twitter, and Dogecoin jumped on the deal, reportedly closing. Billionaire Elon Musk takeover as Twitter has begun, according to multiple published reports. He's fired the CEO and two other Twitter executives. Is Musk's buyout and Binance's participation good for crypto? This is something that was discussed over here in First Mover on CoinDesk. Nevertheless, we also have this article over here. Elon Musk finally closed deal to purchase Twitter, fires top executives, reports he managed to buy the entire company and oust all of those executives, and he did all of that in 1 year. I mean, 1 year ago, I've just been thinking a lot about what 1 year represents in crypto, because right now, 1 year in crypto represents about 8% of the history of this industry. 2 years ago, he was busy buying $1.5 billion worth of Bitcoin. 1 year ago, he was wondering what to do with himself. Now, he's just bought Twitter, taken it private, and now he's going to try to build the Everything app. I think this is going to have a huge impact on a lot of things. I think it's going to change social media as we know it for good. I don't think we'll ever see social media and that sector of the human condition be the same ever again. I don't even have to try and convince you, because I know you already agree with me, that social media has had a profound and startling impact on humanity, on our consciences, on the way we think. And whenever something changes in social media, it has an impact on sociology. It has an impact on the way that people think and operate. It has an impact on which direction our culture is moving, which direction our civilization is moving, what direction so many politics is moving. Elon Musk taking over Twitter, essentially, in my opinion, just made him, if he wasn't already, the single loudest voice and most powerful man on the planet. Potentially even more powerful than the president of the United States or some of the people in charge of other countries, such as over in China, or even I almost said Liz Truss, but the I forget his name, Sunak, over in the United Kingdom. He's probably, if not the most powerful man on the planet right now. You can maybe argue that nuclear weapon states leaders are more powerful. That would be fair, but he's in the top 10. And he is hands down the most powerful entrepreneur in the world right now. And what he does in the next couple of years with how he shifts Twitter is going to completely shift the social media game around the world, and it's going to have a huge impact on you, me, and everybody else. So guys, if you're enjoying today's stream, make sure to hit that like button, smash the like button, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that post notification bell so you won't miss a single episode of Coffee and Crypto Live. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Gonna go ahead and read some chat here for a second before we keep moving on here. Give me just a second. Gonna look for some stuff. Let's see. I know you're a big fan of ADA, as am I. What are your thoughts on staking and farming with DeFi products such as MinSwap and SundaySwap? I think that if you can make extra money while holding an asset that you were already going to buy, then why not? You know, that's where I think that is, to be honest. Let's see. Let me see if I missed any super chats. I hope I didn't. I don't think I did. Nope, didn't miss any super chats. Thank you guys for tuning in. We got 850 people watching. So glad to see you all here. I'm officially calling Elon's company Twesla. Yeah, Matt C said that earlier. Hey, what's up, Jebb? Hello, Knowledge is Deep. Apparently, the Starbucks next to Twitter is missing their sink. Probably. Jebb help. Do you think it's better to stack all the sats I can get or stack smaller coins like Matic or staking ADA? I think it's good to build a solid core of your portfolio, not core scientific, but a core of your portfolio in Bitcoin before you start venturing too far into the altcoins. But there is also an argument to be made that there's a higher risk, higher reward in the alts. So if you want to play the risky game, you can try and jump into some alts, make a bunch of money, then pivot it into Bitcoin for long term. I don't personally like that strategy as much. I think DCAing into Bitcoin and then slowly adding a couple of other altcoins is the more sustainable way to go. And ultimately, that's what we're going for. I don't want you to get rich one year and then be broke the next year. I want to see you gradually grow and build your wealth and your experience and your success in the cryptocurrency market for a long time. I'm not too interested in getting you rich for a year and then you go off and hang out in Bali or something and then you're broke again working at McDonald's. Like, I would rather help you grow your wealth over the period of years that you will hopefully be here. Let's see. By the way, while I'm waiting for some more messages to come in, I do just want to let you know that this channel is brought to you by iTrust Capital. And if you aren't familiar with iTrust Capital, you absolutely should be, because if you have a retirement account, that being an IRA or a Roth IRA or some of the other retirement accounts, then you can actually pivot and use those retirement accounts in the cryptocurrency industry. So you can get signed up with the link in the description box down below and get a $100 funding reward after you fund your account. And you can use your IRA and your other investment platforms like that, your other investment vehicles like that, to buy into Bitcoin and defer those taxes so that you're actually ending up saving a lot of money on taxes in the long run. If you're not using iTrust Capital and you have an IRA, I'm not really sure why you wouldn't be using them. They're the first company in the space that really took off and really started doing a lot of stuff with IRAs and crypto, and they're really just they're a great product. They really are, and we have a lot of people that are using them, and a lot of people that are very excited to be using iTrust Capital. So make sure to find them with the link in the description box down below. Queen thought that the King Twit thing was funny. By the way, they are already doing Christmas stuff at Dunkin' Donuts. It's good stuff. Gotta have my coffee. Gotta have my coffee. Elon equals very bad player. Maybe. Very, very powerful player, though. Should we grab a bunch of Doge in case Elon endorses it with Twitter? That's the thing, is that Dogecoin is already so high. It's already sitting at 8.4 cents. Now, I know you're probably thinking, but Jebb, Dogecoin went to 73 cents. Yeah. It went there based off of hype. A lot of people got the joke originally, and now they're bored with the joke. It could go to the moon again. I'm not saying don't put 1% of your crypto portfolio in it and just see what happens. Go for it. Because it does seem to have bottomed out around this 5-cent region. But I would I would caution you, because it is a pretty I'm gonna upset everybody who loves Doge. It's pretty useless as far as at the moment anyway. And I don't say that because it's actually useless. If Dogecoin was the only cryptocurrency that existed, then it would be pretty useful. But there's other things that do everything that it does better, other than that it's funny and that Elon Musk loves it. To Elon Musk, as I said, it is very valuable because he has a lot of sway over it, being the head honcho of Dogecoin's community. But otherwise, yeah. Jebb, we are breaking your line live on what? Over on Bitcoin? Well, over on Bitcoin, interesting update that just happened a couple of minutes ago is that we actually have a strong buy signal that just came in on BTC. So that sell signal that we saw happen here pushed us all the way down into the take profit zone that was right here. If you had taken those profits and then gotten out, well, now Bitcoin's moving to the upside and we got a strong buy signal. So boom, if you're down on the hourly chart using Lux Algo, you're sitting pretty right now. If you were trading based on Lux Algo, you would have gotten this trade, you would have gotten that trade, you would have gotten that trade right now, and yeah, you're going to be doing pretty well for yourself. This is a confirmed strong buy signal. I'm not sure if I'm really the biggest fan of it. Lux Algo being an indicator is, anything's never going to be perfect. Everything's always going to give you some bad signals. I mean, it's possible that Bitcoin ends up moving to the upside in a big way here, take profits up here, sitting just below 21K. I don't know if I would take that trade personally, because I'm a little bit sketched out by where Bitcoin is, especially considering we're in the middle of forming a head and shoulders pattern. And that head and shoulders pattern would have a price target sitting all the way down here back at 19K. So I'm really just, And look, the strong buy signal just disappeared because Bitcoin just dropped a little bit. That's why you really want to wait for the candlestick to close. This candlestick's still not open for another 27 minutes. That strong buy signal will either be there or not at the end of the candlestick. So you want to hold off on jumping into it too quickly. Good deal. Going to read chat here for another couple of minutes, and then we are going to go ahead and jump into talking about Core Scientific. If you're not familiar with Core Scientific, they are one of the largest miners in the world. In fact, I think they are the largest single individual company miner. They hold 5% of all Bitcoin hash rate. We're going to talk about them here in just a little bit. What are your Lux Algo settings for buy signals? I can go ahead and show you that right now. Do appreciate everybody for tuning in here. Let's go ahead and take a look at Lux Algo. I use 12, which is signal sensitivity, 26 for confirmation signals agility. There is and it's moved on me, I forget where it was, autopilot signal setting right here. You can see that's on. Signal modes, confirmations, and exits. I would make sure that you have that on. And then we also have take profits on, and it's set to 5 here. Take profits on, 5-point, autopilot frequencies, midterm, dashboard location, dashboard size, all of that. This, that, and the other is over here. Solid indicator, my favorite indicator that I use. I use it every single day when I'm doing analysis. Check it out with the link below. All right, let's see. The trend tracer on the hour isn't green for me. What's your settings, Jebb? That's because you're using the trend tracer. It's the trend catcher. So make sure you switch over to the trend catcher. Those are two different things. So I can actually even show you right now. They are two different indicators. The trend tracer, you can see right here, is this. The trend tracer is useful, but I don't use it as much as I use the trend catcher. Make sure I turn that off, or you can leave it on too. I mean, everything in Lux Algo is solid, and then I use the trend catcher, which is that line right there. All right, guys, we're going to jump into the next part of our show here. But before we do, I do just want to bring you a word from another sponsor, which would be none other than MEXC. As you guys can see, MEXC is a one-stop shop for all kinds of services in the cryptocurrency industry. You can even buy cryptocurrency over here with debit and credit cards, global bank transfers. You can even use peer-to-peer trading right over here. As you can see, you can peer-to-peer trade right there. That's really helpful for a lot of people that are not able to actually buy through some of this. Maybe your bank shut you down. Maybe you're under 18 and you can't get through KYC. Peer-to-peer trading is really helpful. Then you got your spot and your margin trading over here, and your quantitative trading. You got all of your futures, and they also have here copy trading, which is really wonderful. They have this copy trading functionality down here where you can follow these different traders and follow them along in their trading journey, and then also make money right alongside them. You can also come over here to activity, and you're going to find all kinds of things to do over here, including futures leaderboards. This is pretty cool. You can see the leaderboards right down here for people making money in this on this exchange, and you can see how much money that they are making and their current yield. So definitely check them out. MEXC Global. The link is in the description box down below. Good deal, guys. Let's go ahead and jump back here into chat for just a second, and then we're going to go into this next article. I'm going to read one last message. Let's see. Radagast said Twitter employees are having a very bad day. We should all point and laugh at them. No, I don't know about that. Maybe Elon can bring Trump in to tell them they're fired. Well, that was the joke in the title, is that you're fired. That was a reference to Trump, but don't know whether Elon's going to do that or not. I think Elon's pretty good at saying you're fired on his own. I mean, he just laid off. He didn't lay off. He fired the top 3 executives at Twitter like that. He just said, nah, you're out. I'm in. Bye. And I forgot. There was one thing I meant to mention over here. I think it was in the Business Insider. Yeah, here we go. This is something I meant to show you this earlier. He was talking about his title. He says, and this is what I mean when I say that he's a comic, but he's also dead serious. He says, yesterday, Musk changed his Twitter bio to read only Chief Twit. He previously stated he would become the leader of Twitter, although the title of CEO is not important to him. He said, I don't really care what the title is, but obviously people do need to listen to me, he told employees in June. Musk also runs Tesla, where his official title is Techno King, in addition to leading roles at SpaceX, Neuralink, and The Boring Company. I may have misspoken earlier. I don't know if he's still involved with Solar City, but he's still involved with The Boring Company, which is another good example of what I mean by him being a comic. He named a company The Boring Company. Pretty funny. I think that's hilarious. Anyway, let's go ahead and jump into another story here. And this one's big. I mean, this one is 5% of the industry, kind of big. let's take a look at this. Core Scientific. This news actually came out yesterday, but of course we had so many things to talk about yesterday that it was a little bit overshadowed, but we can't ignore the importance of it. Bitcoin miner Core Scientific shares plummeted after bankruptcy warning. And I can actually go ahead over here on our chart and I'll bring up the stock price for you. It's bad. I mean, like, wow. This is goodness. This is the hourly chart. You can see all of yesterday's trading. Dropped 75% on market open. And we're going to talk about why here in a second, but I just want to show you the full history as well. Core Scientific IPO'd and was trading up here around $10. You can see this is the dinosaur down here, Hunt Trading View, saying this is the very beginning. This is the beginning of time. And it rallied all the way up to $15. Core Scientific at one point was worth billions. And they have been just getting eviscerated ever since the all-time high on Bitcoin. The all-time high on Bitcoin, just to give you perspective about what's going on here, the all-time high for Bitcoin was right there. So that kind of shows you what happened here. The bull market did not treat them very nicely. But let's explain why this is happening and what this might mean for cryptocurrency. Is this a cataclysm waiting to happen, or is this actually potentially something very good for the industry, something that has put away bad practices and ushered in new opportunity? The world's largest Bitcoin miner said it will not make payments that are due in the next few days as its reserves dwindle. Oof. That is the first thing you hear when a company is going insolvent. And if you don't know what insolvency means, it basically means they have not enough assets to cover all of their liabilities, meaning that if they owe $100 million and they've only got $50 million, well, they're up a creek $50 million and they got to figure out what to do with that. Normally, it leads to bankruptcy. The world's largest Bitcoin miner, Core Scientific, warned that it may have to explore bankruptcy if it fails to improve its financial condition. The warning sent its shares down 77%, as low as 23 cents. Now it's trading at exactly 23 cents right now. This was written yesterday. The miner said it anticipates existing cash resources will be depleted by the end of the year, possibly sooner. Substantial doubt exists about the company's ability to continue as a going concern for a reasonable period of time, it said on a filing Thursday. And this article has a lot of very valuable information, but I'm just going to tell you it's written pretty weirdly. I mean, this paragraph is in here twice. Like, I don't know what's going on over here. Whoever edited this, you need to go back and fix this. This is pretty rough. But nevertheless, the information is accurate and still here. Should the company's basically trying to raise additional capital. You can see here it's working with outside legal advisors and financial advisors, and they say if they fail to raise additional capital, they may have to file for bankruptcy. The Austin, Texas-based company will not make payments due in late October and early November 2022 with respect to several of its equipment and other financings. It said in the filing, creditors may decide to sue the company for non-payment or take action with respect to collateral, it said. So this is more or less a paraphrase of the company. The company's basically saying, hey, we can't pay you. If you want to take action and sue us, then go right ahead. That's pretty much what's going on here, and it's sad, but this is what happens when a company runs too far ahead of itself and it doesn't have the money to actually keep up in bad times. Remember, I've told you guys the story of one construction company, and I really need to go and figure out what the name of this construction company is. I've told the story a lot, but I don't actually remember what the name of the company is. But in 2008, there was this construction company that was doing very well for itself in the big housing boom of 2006 and 2007. And when the 2008 financial crisis came and housing prices dumped and we had reverse negative amortization and all these different policies that led to the financial markets collapsing, stock market dropped, recession, etc., this company, instead of laying everybody off, as most construction companies did back during that time, laying off 50, 60, 70% of people and leaving the vast majority of people in the construction industry without a job, what they did is they doubled down, powered through with like negative 50% revenue, something to that effect. I mean, they were losing money every single quarter. The big construction company, but they didn't lay anybody off. But because they had so many cash reserves that they could run that, they had a 3 or 4 year runway, and a runway is just, hey, if we're burning money at this rate, how long can we last before we run out of cash? They had a 3 or 4 year runway, even with the decreased sales, kept all of their employees, and then when the market came back in 10 and 11, then they like doubled their market share in their area because they were able to sustain themselves through that period. Unfortunately, a lot of crypto companies, being young and naive, did not do that. And a lot of those companies are now facing the consequences because they had a 3-month runway if they started going negative rather than a 5-year runway because they had enough savings. Because there was such an aggressive movement and race to the top during 2020 and 2021 in a lot of these companies. They just wanted to grow and grow and grow and reinvest and reinvest and reinvest, that they didn't save money for a bear market that we all knew would come eventually. And this is the consequence of it. So one of the things that you run into is that a company going under like this is not good for the industry. Core Scientific, as I said, makes up 5% of all Bitcoin mining. But hopefully this, and what happened with Luna, what happened with Three Arrows Capital, what happened with Celsius, what happened with, you name it, there were a few others that went insolvent and bankrupt. Hopefully, these kind of stories will teach the industry a lesson, because we didn't have massive publicly traded billion-dollar companies in the industry to this effect anyway. Back during the 2017 bull market and 2018 bear market, we saw maybe $50 to $100 million companies and a few big players. I'm talking the top exchanges. You had, you had TradingView, which it wasn't a crypto company, but it was heavily involved in crypto because it had been built for stocks. But then you also had, Coinbase, Binance, a few other big players in the space. Bittrex, for example, not a big player anymore, but used to be. Those companies were able to sustain themselves through the bear market. They downsized and they were okay. They didn't go bankrupt. But a lot of these other companies just did not build themselves in the right way. And this is a good example. So this article continues here, and this is, like I said, this is a really important story, because this is not just because of Core Scientific, because this is reflective of a problem in the industry. With the substantial decline in mining rig prices in 2022, we believe there's a significant chance the creditors holding this debt decide to restructure instead of taking possession of the collateral. What does that mean? Well, the debtors, Core Scientific is the debtor. The creditors, the people that have loaned Core Scientific money to buy the mining rigs, those creditors, which are owed money, very well may, instead of taking the mining rigs, liquidating them to get their money back, they may end up holding on to the mining rigs and then selling them themselves, or starting up their own mining operations. So track with me here, because this is actually potentially something really powerful for the industry, because this seems like a cataclysmic event, like, oh my gosh, the world's biggest miner is going bankrupt. And I'm going to show you the financials here in a second. Wow, I am surprised they lasted. It's bad. I'm talking they were losing 5 times as much money as they were making in revenue every quarter. It's horrible. It's gross as far as from a business perspective. Anyway, the good things that come from this is, number one, hopefully this will serve as another lesson. The industry learned about lending platforms after the fall of BitConnect. It really did. There are still some scams out there, and there's a good bit of them in DeFi, but the old guard, as far as using that in a positive term now, people that have been in crypto for a long time, like myself, like a lot of people watching this stream, they know better at this point than to trust a 1% a day trading bot. And if you have anybody promising you 1% a day, you need to look very hard into how that's being generated, because a lot of times it's a scam. But the industry, in large part anyway, learned their lesson. Hopefully the industry, in large part, will learn their lesson about, hey, this industry has the potential of going down 85% in 12 months and then taking 2 to 3 years to rebound. So maybe we ought to give ourselves a 4-year runway and stack up 2 to 3 years of cash reserves to keep ourselves operating, and have, as a lot of businesses that I'm antiquated with, associated with, have something called a 50% revenue reduction plan, which a lot of businesses had to implement during the pandemic. Hopefully this will teach a lot of lessons to the crypto industry. But the second thing that could come from this that's actually very positive is that all of those miners that were already bought on a discount, because miner prices were already going down since people stopped buying as many miners because the hash rate of Bitcoin had gone down, a lot of those miners will end up back in the ecosystem. They're not just going to have a steamroller go over them like happened in Malaysia or Indonesia somewhere a couple of years ago, if you remember that. What's likely going to happen is those miners are going to go back out onto the market, like what we saw when China banned mining. And that's one of the other points I'm going to get to in a second. But a lot of those miners will hopefully go out being used hardware. They'll be less expensive, but they'll still be able to more or less do the exact same amount of work that they were doing before. They probably have all the same efficiency. They are just less expensive because they're used equipment. They're not new anymore. Those will go out to different miners, be they corporate, be they individual, and those miners will be able to get cheaper mining hardware, which means that they hopefully will be able to turn a profit much easier in mining, which could actually be very good for the mining industry as a whole. This is a good example of what I mean when I say that cryptocurrency sometimes has to go through a controlled burn. This company was apparently not set up in a way to survive a bear market, obviously. I'm going to show you the finances in a second. It's bad. It's horrible. But hopefully those miners will go to companies that will learn the lesson from Core Scientific. Core Scientific, in the short term, this is a pretty big FUD story. Luckily, there was a giant short squeeze. Twitter's taking all the attention away from bad news in crypto. So luckily, this FUD story didn't actually have a giant cataclysmic impact on the price action of Bitcoin, and it probably won't now. It could after they actually file for bankruptcy, because I see no way of them salvaging this. But It seems like it hasn't had a big bad impact on the price action of Bitcoin. And by the way, if you're worried about 5% of mining and hash rate, just remember, and I could show you the chart on this, but I'll just tell you, 50% of Bitcoin hash rate went down in 3 to 4 months when China banned Bitcoin back last year, in summer of last year, and Bitcoin's price did follow that downturn, but actually went back to all-time high within 6 months. So that's how resilient the Bitcoin industry and the Bitcoin mining network is. If you lose 5% of hash rate, it's not that big a deal. It's going to get redistributed. Other people are going to buy those miners. Those creditors want their money back, and one of the ways they're going to get them is by selling those miners. So you can bet your bottom dollar those miners are not going to disappear from the industry. They're going to get sold, and they're going to get used again, because that's how the creditors are going to get some of their money back. And that will likely end up making the miners that do buy them more profitable, which should help to grow the industry even more. So in a way, we got a lesson, and we also got a redistribution of cheap miners out of this. So hopefully for the industry as a whole, it's a good thing. Sorry to the creditors, because by the way, I didn't actually even mention, I'll just go ahead and show you in the article here so you can see where my source is. Core Scientific's woes reflect the depressed state of the Bitcoin mining industry, with firms squeezed between high electricity costs and a muted Bitcoin price. One of Core Scientific's peers, Compute North, filed for bankruptcy in September, owing as much as $500 million to at least 200 creditors, and it seems like Core Scientific may owe even more than that. By the way, if you were thinking about buying Core Scientific stock, I'm not a financial advisor. Let me just get that straight first, but I really wouldn't. And I'll show you why, because if you do go to talk to a financial advisor and you show them these financials, they're going to tell you the same thing. Take a look at this. Pretty much any publicly traded company, you can come over to Google, type in their stock, their name, and then their stock, and you will see their financials, some just basically quarterly financial reports over here. If you hit financials over on the right side, this is in Google, you can go back a year and see their financials. So September of 2021, which would have been the end of quarter three, their quarter three earnings call, they made $113 million in revenue, but they had a net income of $16 million. But they had a $100 million change in cash on hand. Their cost of revenue is $54 million. So these financials don't really add up all that much. But the point is, they ended up actually improving their financial position, even though they had a net loss income. They probably had a funding round there. That's probably where some of the creditors got involved. Then they went from making $113 million in revenue in quarter three to $301 million in revenue in December of 2021. Those are some big numbers. Those are like some Coinbase style numbers. They had $60 million in profit in net income. Operating income was $102 million. Cost of revenue was $160. They actually had a loss in cash on hand. Again, these numbers don't make a whole lot of sense. But then you go to March, which would represent quarter one financials, and it's bad. I'd like to know how this happens. If you know how this happened, I would love to know. I have not had the time or really the interest, because I know the company is going to go bankrupt at this point pretty much, to find out. But I'm really curious how this happened. They had $200 million in revenue from their mining, lost $466 million. I'd like to know where that went. Did they have to pay a bunch of money back? Is this having to do with the money that they borrowed? I really don't know. But then you get to June, and this is Q2 earnings call for this company. $163 million in revenue, negative $810 million in net income. Like, I mean, I would love for anybody to explain to me how you lose $810 million in a quarter. It must have had something to do with the financing, or some kind of accounting jargon, or not jargon, but some kind of accounting quirk. I don't know. Seems strange to me. I don't think the company's going to come back from this, which is unfortunate for anybody who was invested in Core Scientific. Sorry to everybody who had that stock, but hopefully we all learn a lesson as an industry. Anyway, let's go ahead and keep moving on here. Before we jump into chat, because I definitely do want to jump into chat and read some of your comments, I do just first want to give a shout out to one of our sponsors, which is none other than Uphold. As you can see, we have Uphold over here, and they are helping to uphold the industry with their services, and they have so many different things that you can buy over here. I love this site because it's a place where you can come to buy all kinds of different assets in just all kinds of different sectors. You have different products over here. You have your cryptocurrencies, but you also have precious metals, stocks, environmental assets, and then you have all of these things down here, including staking. I mean, if you come over here and stake, you can see all of the different cryptocurrencies that you can stake here. So this is kind of a one-stop shop hub to do staking on a lot of these different cryptocurrencies that you'd be familiar with. You got Kava, Kusama, Polkadot, Mina, Casper, Near Protocol, Audius, this is a really cool project. Haven't looked into it much recently, but it seems to be doing very well. ETH, which is now obviously on proof of stake. You got Cardano over here, Tezos, Tron. You can do all of your staking over here, but then also you can come over here and look at the different assets like Bitcoin, and you can see their price. But then if you want to buy these assets, then you can actually buy them. You can come over here and buy Bitcoin by using your Uphold account, and make sure that you can do that. But then you can also buy different stocks. You can come over here and buy things like Tesla. You can see what the bulls and the bears are saying. Really like all of that. Then you can come over here and buy precious metals. This is really cool to have all of this in one place. And then you've got all of your wallets over here and your resources. So really, it's a place to come if you're trying to get into not just cryptocurrency, but a lot of different places like precious metals and stocks and equities, and get involved in investing in those as well. Great way to bridge both of these worlds of traditional finance and cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, and get invested in both. So check out the link down below, uphold.com. Let's go ahead and read some chat here to wrap out the stream. We got 7 minutes to go. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Have a super chat from Opus number 1. Thank you for the super chat, Opus. Donated $5. He said, I always hear we need crypto regulation, but I never hear an example of what kind. What kind would you do if you had the power to implement? Thank you, Jebb. You the man. Appreciate that, Opus number 1. One of the first things that needs to be clarified is how exactly it's going to be taxed and policed. So a lot of these big companies want to get into Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but it's confusing how it's actually going to be taxed, and it's very difficult to understand what's going to happen if you make a mistake. So insofar as the taxing is considered, if you make a mistake in the taxes, you don't really know how the IRS is going to come after you. You don't know if they're going to. You don't know if they're going to catch you. You don't know if they're not. Then you also have the issues. And by the way, I just want to preface, I am not an attorney. I'm not a lawyer. Regulation is not my field of expertise. But I can tell you some of the general issues that a lot of these companies are running into. You're also running into issues where a lot of these major companies have, and Kevin O'Leary and I talked about this on Market Talks over on Cointelegraph a few months ago, and I may end up bringing it up with him again when I talk to him on Tuesday. But one of the issues that major companies are running into also is that they have different systems and frameworks for tracking their finance and tracking their investments and tracking their portfolios and tracking all of these different systems from an accounting, finance, and legal perspective. And those systems just don't integrate with crypto because a lot of the same tools that are in the traditional financial world are not there. And it's kind of difficult to build those tools for cryptocurrency in the traditional financial world because a lot of the nitty-gritty regulation does not exist. On top of that, you've also got the concerns over, is it a security? Is it not a security? If we invest in it and it is a security and we didn't know, are we going to get in trouble? The security question is a really big one because these companies are not scared of buying securities. A lot of companies own stock in other companies. That's one of the ways they invest their money and build that runway that we were talking about a while ago. But the issue is, these companies are not interested in getting involved in an industry where they don't know what they're buying and they don't know whether it's regulated by the SEC, the CFTC. They don't know how the IRS is going to tax it. And also the other thing is you don't have a broad international, even a simple framework for how to invest in cryptocurrency in one country, but not in another one. There's so many different things that are running into that. And there are different companies. I'm blanking on one of their names. There's one company that I've interviewed one of the C-suite executives of that's on the channel somewhere. Actually, I don't know if that interview went up. I think there was an audio issue. But I remember interviewing her, and they help teach companies how to work in this field in regulation and how the cryptocurrencies are being regulated, but they just don't have them. And so it's kind of one of those almost talking points like, oh, regulation, it needs to come to crypto. But ultimately, it's not a simple answer because it's everything. Companies have to deal with paperwork here, paperwork there, laws here, laws there, bylaws there, bylaws here. They've got to deal, not bylaws, but regulation here, regulation there, taxing here, taxing there. And if a lot of those things are not clarified in the cryptocurrency industry, and precedent has not been set legally either, that's another issue. In a lot of court cases and a lot of specifics, a lot of these companies would just rather wash their hands of it and say, no, we'll give it 5 years and let the industry develop a little bit more. We'll let the SEC, CFTC, IRS, FBI, all of these different the alphabet soup organizations figure out what they're doing in crypto, and then they'll come back to it. So having regulatory clarity in a lot of different areas would be very helpful. And that's something that Kevin O'Leary and I will probably talk about on Tuesday when I interview him. But like I said, a lot of it comes down to taxes and policing, and also the classification of what the asset is, whether it's under the SEC or the CFTC, and who's actually going to be policing your investment. Do you prefer RSI, MACD, or Lux Algo for buy and sell weekly or monthly charts? If only I'd want to take Lux Algo every single day. I love RSI and MACD. They're great free indicators. I've used them for half a decade. But the thing is, Lux Algo can give me a lot of the same signals and a lot more. So if I only had to have one, I'd take Lux Algo, mainly because first of all, it's got those buy and sell signals, which are amazing, but also it's got a ton of other signals in it that I don't show you guys every day, like I show you Lux Algo every day, that help you understand what MACD and RSI would be saying. EC19 donated and said, greetings, Jebb. What are your thoughts on Tectonic on the Kronos chain? Also, CRO being a sponsor for the World Cup Qatar 2022. Do you think this helps the crypto community? Thanks and blessings. CRO, Crypto.com, and their token, Crypto.com, their coin token, Crypto.com, is a giant marketing company. They have a cool product, and they've onboarded a lot of people into the cryptocurrency space, but ultimately they're a giant marketing company, and that's why they're putting tons of money into sponsoring things like the World Cup. They're buying stadium rights as far as the naming. I'm not saying Crypto.com is a bad company. I'm just saying that the cryptocurrency itself is of concern to me, because in the same way Binance's cryptocurrency is of concern to me, because it carries a company's name. And so that gives me two issues. Number one, if something happens to the company, then it's going to cause a massive amount of FUD and could just shatter the token price, even if the cryptocurrency is fine. But two, you run into an issue of, how is that not a security under the Howey test? Tell me how. This cryptocurrency was, for Crypto.com and Binance.com, Binance Coin, these were sold due in part to help raise money for their parent companies, and they bear their name. It's not exactly a security, but with how vague securities law is, you can make a case. And I'm not saying the case would go through, but the case might not go through on XRP, but it still dragged Ripple and XRP through the mud for years and crashed the price, which has led to a lot of investors losing a lot of money in that cryptocurrency, even if it's not a security. You see what I'm saying? Even if it's not a security, it coming under those legal proceedings could be a concern. And, I'm not saying that's going to happen, but that is the concern. Jebb, can the Fed control the bond market and inflation at the same time without causing end of the world? Well, it's no human's ability to cause the end of the world. The time and date alone is known by the Father, but they think they can control inflation, which they can control inflation going up. I don't know if they really have too much authority over making it go down without doing a US dollar burn, the same way cryptocurrencies do burns. As far as the bond market, the bond market is heavily tied to the effective federal funds rate. So, yeah, they definitely can have some kind of impact on that. Kevin O'Leary is a good interview. I'm excited about it. Yeah, be looking for that. Be looking for that for in a couple of weeks. Ken Saunders said, "Have you got a new sponsored watch yet?" I don't know, but I don't. But I have we have a family member staying with us right now who is actually someone who works on Rolexes. So maybe I could and he used to work for Rolex, so maybe I could get in contact with Rolex and get them to sponsor the channel. Who knows? Michael Saylor figured his Bitcoin to be able to drop to 3K before they go insolvent. Now, that's a man who understands volatility. Exactly my point. Exactly my point. He did take out debt to buy Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. But before he would go insolvent on those loans, he would have to see Bitcoin drop to 3K. And he said, if Bitcoin goes to 3K, then I was wrong about Bitcoin in the first place. And he doesn't believe he's wrong about Bitcoin. So that's a very, very good point. That's a very good point. Well, guys, it is 11:01. We are going to go ahead and wrap out the stream. Thank you all for tuning in. Make sure to hit that like button if you have not already. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and also hit that post notification bell so you'll be updated every single time we go live. Got a cool interview coming out for you tomorrow from none other than Drew Wolfer himself, bringing you some information on a really, guys, I'll let you watch the video, but a really lucrative investment. Now, I don't know whether it's going to profit or not. I'm not a financial advisor. I can't predict the future, but just based on what he said in the interview we shot with him yesterday, it could be really big. It could be really big. If you're trying to make some money in crypto, this could be something that you are going to want to see. I'll give you a hint. It's an NFT project that gives you a percentage of the net income of a certain company that is seemingly about to close a big deal, like hundreds of millions of users worth of big deal. So check it out. That interview will be going out tomorrow. You're not going to want to miss it, if for nothing else than the investment opportunity that seems to be present in that. Guys, if you enjoyed today's show, as I said, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the post notification bell. Stay tuned on Saturday for that video. It'll probably drop sometime in the early afternoon Eastern Standard Time. Before I go, though, guys, I do just first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.